Welcome to today's live stream. In today's live stream, we are going to talk about parenting style that work, finding the balance between love and discipline. Now, you will agree with me that every parent wants to raise a confident, kind, and disciplined child. So, it is in the mind of every parent to raise a child that is well balanced, a child that will grow and mature in grace and wisdom. But now, how do we make this possible? How do we raise this balanced, disciplined, emotionally matured children? How do we make it a reality? That is what we are going to look into in today's live stream. That is raising a balanced, well matured child. You understand? Now, we now look at parenting style that matters. You see, majorly we are going to look at three types of parenting styles. We are going to look at authoritative, authoritarian, and permissive. Majorly, we are going to base our today's live stream analysis on these three parenting styles. Now, we need to understand how this parenting style affects the child's behavior, the child confidence, and the long-term success of our children. How do they affect them? And then we will also look at life example, that is real life example, practical tips that will help us to balance love and discipline. We are going to look at all these in details. Now, let's start by looking at how this what these parenting styles really means. So we are going to look at what this parenting style really means. Now, understanding the parenting styles, we start with the first one, the authoritarian. The authoritarian parenting styles is the strict style. This one is very strict. Authoritarian parents are strict, rule focus, expect obedience without question. And then they always have these favorite lines, because I say so. And no means no. So because he says so, you are not going to, you will just accept whatsoever he says or whatsoever the parent says. They want their, their orders, because their own is orders. They want the orders to be carried out strictly. They want their orders to be carried out strictly. No questioning. Just do as they say without question. Now, what is the traits of this parenting style? What are the characteristics? By how do we know we are into this parenting style bracket? How do we know? Now, the trait is high on control and low on warmth. They are very high on control. They want their orders to be strictly carried out. In short, they want clear obedience, strict obedience, and they are very low on care. No care, no, just low on warmth means no care. They don't care. They have no room for care. They have no room for love. All they want is carry out my responsibility. You see, so that is the characteristics. Now, again is rules are not explained, just enforced. Whatever rule they want, they give, they want it to be carried out just as it is. No question, just do it the way they said it. You see? So this is another characteristics carry out their rules or their carry out their their orders, carry out their orders without questioning, just enforcement. Now, another of their traits is mistakes are punished harshly. If you should in any way make a mistake, if their word or their child should in any way make any mistake, that mistake will be punished severely. It will be punished harshly. There will be dealt with. You see, now look at this example. A child come home late from school, and then instead of you knowing why this child come late from school, the child will be punished severely for coming home late from school. Does that show maturity, if I may ask? Because a lot of things might have caused this child to come home late. A lot of factors might have been the cause of this late coming. So why about what will it cause if you just ascertain the reason why the child came late before you talk of punishing the child? Because there may be a cogent reason. You see, there may be a cogent reason. There may be the reason why maybe she was delayed at school, or maybe something happened on the road, or anything. So, but this authoritarian parenting style will not ask questions. They will just measure out punishment. You see. Now, what are the short-term results? What are the short-term results? The short-term result is obedience. The child may be obedient, but while the child is obedient, the child will be fearful. He will be obedient but fearful. Yeah? Now, long-term. What are the long-term results? The long-term is low self-esteem, anxiety, and lack of decision-making. That is the long-term effect. The long-term effect, the child may develop low self-esteem. It will be the child will rarely have confidence in himself because of constant punishment, because of constant nagging, because of constantly punishing the child for one offense or the other. So, and the child will be he will always be anxious. He will always be anxious because he or she will know the one she will do, and then she will be punished. Now, when it comes to decision making, the child will be full of fear. He will be full of fear to carry out or to make any decision, because if she makes the wrong one, punishment will follow. And since punishment will follow every wrong decision she make or he makes, he will be fearful on how to carry out any decision or to carry out anything. You see? Now, another one, let us look at the permissive parenting. Let us look at the permissive parenting. Now, here, the parents are loving, accepting, but they are avoiding saying no. Here, the parents are full of care. The parents are full of warmth, but there is no boundaries, and there is no control, and there is no interference with the action of the child. The child here has absolute control of what he or she is does. The parents have little or no control at all. He allows the child to do whatsoever he or she wants to do. So that is that. This set of people want their children to be happy at all times. They want their children to be happy at all times. See, now, what are the characteristics? What are the traits you see in parents, in these very particular parents? What are the traits you see in them? The trait is they are high on love and low on discipline. They are high on love and low on discipline. No discipline at all. No interference with the child's activity. Because for them, because they love the child is free to do whatever he wants to do. You see. Now, another one is few rules or boundaries. Few, if not no rules and no boundaries. The child does whatsoever he wants to do when he wants and at his or her own discretion without the parents' interference, without the parents' control. Nothing. So number 3 is that the child often gets their way. They always have their way. They always do things their way. Their parents is not a part of their action. You see, parents is not a part of their action. So let us look at this example. A child refused to eat vegetable. Now, what will a permissive parents do? Allow the child to be. Allow the child to do his own thing. So for the parents, it's not important whether the child want to eat vegetable or not. In short, he will even permit the child to go on eating snacks or eating sweets or whatsoever that the child like to do. You allow the child to go on eat what he wants, since you don't want to eat vegetable. It's not to be enforced, but he knows that vegetable is important and will be much more beneficial for the child if the child eats vegetable. It will be much more beneficial, but because of lack of control, because of his lack of control, he allows the child to eat snacks and all sort of food that will not be so beneficial to the child. Now, what are the short-term results? The child feel loved and free. The child will feel as if the parents love him or her. He will feel as if the world is at his or her own disposal. No interference, no nothing, no punishment, no nothing. Now, but when it comes to long term, what will be the result in the long term? The child may struggle with self-control because he always have his ways. He always does things his own ways. Therefore, he has grown accustomed to being without control. How can he or she be able to control herself or himself? He will always be carefree, living free, sometimes eat free. Most of them obese because of they are eating too much, uh, 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 too much junk foods and others. He will grow very obese. Obesity. Now, the child will also struggle with responsibility because he have not been living responsible. You have not been accustomed to, such lifestyle. he will struggle with being responsible. And now we come to respect for boundaries. This child will not have respect for boundaries because he never grew with one. He was never, he have never seen such, maybe in his life. Therefore, to the child, boundary does not matter. Now, let us look at the authoritative parenting style. This one we call the balanced style. Authoritative parents mix warmth with structure. They mix warmth with structure. They love deeply. They love deeply, but they also set clear boundaries. The boundary is very clear. What they want, what they expect the child to do is very clear. You see, what they expect the child to do is very clear. Therefore, what is the threat on this? Or the characteristics of this. They are always high on love and discipline. They love, yes, and they always discipline. But the discipline with what? Love. The discipline with connection. The discipline with understanding. They don't just discipline for the sake of disciplining. They just discipline with connection. So, number 2 is rules are explained and not enforced. The orders they give, the rules they give, they explain. You see, it's explained. They don't just come and say something without any explanation. So rules are explained and not just forced. They don't force their orders to be carried out, because the child already knows the natural consequence of the order when not carried out. Therefore, willingly the child carry out this responsibility. Willingly the child abide with their rules, with their intentions, and with their intentions. The child naturally accept that because it is very clear, and it is for their own good. Now, mistakes are treated as learning opportunity. Any mistake that the child makes, they take it as an opportunity for teaching, not for punishment. Not strictly, you make mistake, you'll be punished. No. In this very particular instance, any mistake that the child makes will be used to explain more things, make the child understand much the natural consequences of his actions. So now let's look at this instance. If a child comes home late, an authoritative parent may say, "I was worried you didn't call. Let's talk about how we can prevent this next time." You see, I was worried when you didn't come to school in time, from school in time. Let's talk about what happened. What actually happened? Why were you late? You see? So, from knowing the reasons for coming late, you now know knowing the reasons for coming late, you now know the correction or the measures to take so that this thing will not happen again. Now, short-term results: respectful, responsible, and secure children. They say respect is reciprocal. And this group of parents respect their children very well. Therefore, no harsh tone, no harsh, no harsh tone, and no harsh tone when talking to children. No, no harsh tone when talking to children, and no punishing the children for minor offenses they commit, even for major one. They don't just punish children anyhow. Instead, they take opportunity of any mistake of these children to lecture them more or teach them more on their behavior. Now, what are the long-term effects? The long-term effect is the children have high self-esteem because emotionally the children are balanced. Emotional intelligence. Children of this children of this group grow or mature intelligently or emotionally. They mature emotionally because they were emotionally not maltreated. They were emotionally not maltreated. They grew successful in life because emotional intelligence encourages them or makes them to be able to relate with any person, and it will cause them to be, to mix up with and understand how to deal with people, you see. And they were not emotionally, they were never damaged. So that is one of the most important parts of this parenting lifestyle. That is authoritative parenting. The most important part of this very particular parenting style is that it builds children. It helps them to grow maturely. Now, now that we know now that we know this type, let us look at the impact on their behavior, on the children's behavior, self-esteem, and long-term success. Let us look at the impact on these children's behavior, the self-esteem, and their long-term success. Now, when it comes to behavior, authoritarian children often behave well in front of parents, but at the back, they may rebel because sometimes they will say, or when they are in front of their parents, they will behave well, behave cool, you see, but in the back of their parents, when their parents are when their parents are not around, they will, live anyhow they like because the parents do, you know, the parents do discipline them without love. So they don't understand the reasons why they were disciplined. In short, their discipline is even, punishment, because there is clear difference between discipline and punishment. When you don't discipline with love, I think that will, that will necessarily be punishment if you don't discipline with love. Yes. So now, they struggle with expressing themselves. The children in this lifestyle struggle with expressing themselves because there is no confidence. They lack this confidence, especially because their parents did not teach them with such. Therefore, no, there is no, they can't express themselves. They lack how to express themselves. You see. So now, Now let us continue. Now we look at these permissive children. The permissive children, in their impact of behavior, they struggle with following rules. They struggle with following rules, because they were never raised with what? With one. They were never raised with rules. So they struggle with following rules and then authority or limits. They always want everything to go their way. They want everything to go as they want it. You see? So they want everything to go their way. So that is that. So this very set of children, for them, no rules. Now, what about authoritative children? This one learn responsibility and self-discipline because they understand why rules exist. Because rules were always being explained to them. They know why every rule was made. You see? So for them, it is not a problem creating rules. They are already a part of it. You see? So that is that. This group of children, they are responsible and self-disciplined because they have been exposed to such lifestyle. Now, self-esteem. How does this parenting style affect children's self-esteem? Kids, authoritarian parenting, kids often feel never good enough. There is lack of self-confidence in kids of this nature because they never learn the existence. They never learn the existence of why they were punished. So if they don't know if they don't know the reasons of their punishment, they can never feel secure on themselves. They can never feel any confidence on their actions. They can't feel secure on themselves. They can't feel secure enough for themselves. So that is that. They always feel not good enough. Now, permissive parenting, kids may feel loved but insecure because of no structure. They feel loved. They were loved, but there is no structure. Therefore, when outside their home, they will feel hard. They will feel it hard to be able to associate with others. It will be hard for them to associate with others because they don't have structure. They were raised without structure. They were raised without rules. They were just free as children. They just do anything they like, just live the way they like. Therefore, no understanding of life. Now, authoritarian kids, they feel loved and guided. They learn self-worth from encouragement and correction that builds, not break. So these ones, they feel loved, guided, they have structure. So they receive corrections when they make mistakes and therefore building confidence in them. That builds confidence in them and they grow with such a structure. So self-esteem is 100% secure in this group of children. But in the other two, self-esteem is lacking. They are lacking self-esteem. Now, what about the impact on the long-term success? The impact on the long-term success. Research have shown consistently that authoritative parenting produces the most balanced, emotional, healthy, and successful adults. Authoritative. Now, these kids grow into independent, respectful, and resilient individual. They grow into independent, respectful, and resilient individual. They learn how to manage emotions, take responsibility, and make wise decisions. To this group of children, they are well balanced. Because the essence of the main essence of raising a human being is to be able to raise a human being that will be well balanced and independent in nature, you know, because you can't continue to be with your child. There will be a time the child will be on his own. So if the child is not well balanced, he will find it hard to succeed in life. Understand? Now let us look at real life example. Real life example. Now, one adult raised with strict authoritarian parents, adults that are raised by strict authoritarian parents struggle to make decisions, fearing mistakes. They struggle to make decisions and are afraid of making mistakes because every mistake they made will be corrected, dealt with harshly. Therefore, they struggle to make mistakes. You understand? Now, what about permissive? This group of persons crave for freedom, avoiding accountability. They crave for freedom, avoiding accountability because they are used to such freedom, but no structure. Therefore, no means of being accountable. They don't understand that lesson, that one can be accountable. You see? The third one, authoritatively, know that mistakes, authoritative children, the children that grew under authoritative parents knew that mistakes are part of growth, and they take responsible for their action. They take responsible for their action, and this is maturity. You can agree with me. This is purely maturity. When children take responsible for their action and they are not afraid to make mistakes because they know that mistakes are part of their growth. You see? So now let us look at how we as parents can develop this authoritative style in our homes. How can we as parents develop these authoritative styles in our homes? How can we develop this lifestyle? We start with number one. Number one, practical strategy. Number one is set clear but flexible boundaries. Set clear but flexible boundaries. When you set boundaries as a parent, make sure that the boundary is well understood by your children. Their orders, let it be understandable by the children involved. And then, if anything happens, let this boundary be revisable. Let it not be a strict one. Because I say so, let it be like that. If you can't do it, you'll be punished. If you can't do it, will be dealt with severely. Or because I have said it, let it remain that way. Don't let your orders be like that as a parent. Let the orders you create be for the building of your children. Let it be for their maturity. You see, let it be for the well-being of your family. or the children that you are raising. Not because I have said so, let it remain like that. But let it be because it is beneficial. Natural consequences of the son of any other. Let there be natural consequences for every order you created. Let there be natural consequences. Let it be, if you don't do your homework, you will explain to your teacher. Therefore, you need to do your homework. Not if you didn't do your homework, no food for you in this house. Or if if you if you if you didn't if you didn't wash if you can't wash plates, you will eat with with dirty plates. At least, not just punishing because one couldn't wash plate, but let there be reasons why the child needs to wash the plate. Because if you didn't wash the plate, we will eat with unclean plates. So that is that. Now, the children needs to know the whys between the rules. In every rules you make, there need to be whys, and let them know those whys. Why this didn't happen? Why you shouldn't go to school late? Why you shouldn't stay awake till 12 to 11 p.m. in the night? Let there be wise to this. So that is that. Another one is be consistent. That is another way of forming this balanced parenting strategy. You have to be consistent. Don't enforce rules one day and the next day you ignore them. You have to be consistent. If the rules in the house says no staying awake until after 10 p.m., let it be consistent. Let it be consistent. No time, not only we stay awake until 10 p.m. today, tomorrow you can ignore them to stay until 11 p.m. Let it be a consistent one. You see? Going to school early, let it be consistent. Maintaining order and cleanliness in the house, let it be consistent. Let it be a consistent thing, not today, or not on today, off tomorrow. Now, listen and validate feelings. Show empathy. Show empathy. I understand you are upset about losing your game time. Let's talk about how we can balance and homework better. You see? You have to show empathy as you carry out your responsibility as a parent. You have to put yourself in the shoes of these children. You know how they feel. So if there is any mistake, talk to them calmly. Talk to them calmly. You see? And then not that you will ignore corrections. No. Spare the rod and spoil the child. Therefore, you will correct, but correct with love. Don't just correct because you want to correct, or you correct and maybe the children don't know why they are being corrected. Correct with love. Now, encourage, don't just correct. That is number 4. Encourage and don't just correct. Replace punishment with teaching moments. anytime the child fails in his responsibility, you use that opportunity as one to teach the child. Use it as one to let him understand the natural consequences of his action. Understand? So, praise effort, not judge success. I notice you cleaned up after dinner. Thank you for taking responsibility. The effort is recognized, not just the success. Don't just take notes when the child succeeded, but every little effort of this child should be encouraged and should be praised, because when you praise the effort, you will be you'll be obliged to do more. You see, so don't just praise success, but praise effort. Now, number 5, be a role model. Be a role model. Children copy what they see. Children copy what they see. If you want to manage anger calmly, learn calmness. If you apologize when you are wrong, they will learn humility. Therefore, in your life as a parent, make sure you model all this lifestyle you want these children to show. Model all this lifestyle you want these children to show. Because if you don't model this lifestyle, the children won't give that to you. You see? Or maybe you tell them one thing and do the other thing. They are watching. They know you are. They know you. They know you are doing. You are not doing the right thing, and they will see that wrong thing as something that is not worth their time. You see. So that is that. Model what you see. Model what you want to see. Now, number 6, balance love and authority. Balance love and authority. Too much control kill trust. This is purely authoritarian parenting. Too much control, too much discipline, and then it will kill trust. But too much freedom weaken discipline. This is permissiveness, permissive parenting style. Too much freedom weakens discipline. There will be no discipline because you're always free from control. There is no control. There is no control at all. Then the children lives how they like. They behave anywhere they want. Remember that children are they are not matured enough to live on their own or to handle things their way. They don't have that experience to stay on their own and do things their way. So you as a parent is supposed to be a guide. And then instead of being a guide, you allow them to be on their own, do things on their own. This is also wrong. Now, love should not mean no rules. Love should not mean no rules. And discipline should not mean no affection. When you love with boundaries, love with your orders to be carried out, and let your orders be known. Let these orders be clearly communicated, and let them understand it very well and know the consequences of not carrying out this order. And then discipline should not mean no affection. You are disciplining, yes, but there should be affection. Discipline with love. Don't just discipline without love. Now, number 7, we create family meeting. Create family meeting once in a week or once in a while. Discuss goals, routines, challenges. Let children be part of it. Let them also learn communication and cooperation. Discussing your family goals and routines and the challenges that are involved in carrying out these goals. Let them also create their own impact. Let them also create their own impact. Let them know and be aware of how to move on. Now, number 8. Use natural consequences. Natural consequences. Let them experience the result of their actions safely. If you forget your homework, you have to explain it to your teacher. This one is a learning moment. You let the child understand the consequences of actions that he or she carries out. Because in real life, there is consequences for every action of ours. There is consequences, there are things either positive or negative. But in some actions, when we do the wrong thing, there are always negative consequences. Therefore, let them know the natural consequences of these their actions. Number 9, connect before you correct. Connect before you correct. Always start with love before correction. Start with love. It makes more sense when you connect before correction. Connect with love. Come down to the level your children are before you correct their actions. Come down to their level, even if it means kneeling down to their height, talking to the child, looking squarely in his eyes while explaining these natural consequences. Calm down. Now, I know you're a good child. Let's talk about what went wrong today. Something like that. Now, let us look at how parents in real life apply this balance. How does parents in real life apply this balance? Now, real life examples and scenario. Homework battles. Now, what will the authoritarian parents do when there's a battle on how the child should do his homework? Authoritarian parents, do it now or no dinner. Do it now or no dinner. Should it always be do or die? Should it always sound like that? What about giving some little explanation? Now let us look at permissive parents. Permissive parents will say, it is okay, you will do it later, you do it after. It's okay, you will do it after. So maybe he won't even care whether the child later does it or not. At least he have said it's okay, you will do it later. Yeah, at least let me not hurt the child's feeling. Because this is always the problem of these permissive parents. They don't want to hurt the child's feeling. Now, what will authoritative parents do? Let's plan together so you can finish before dinner. Let's plan your time together so you can finish before dinner. You see, always be involved in the life of your children, and that is one of the that's one of the characteristics of authoritative parenting. Authoritative parents, being always involved. Let us plan your time together so that you can finish before dinner. You see? Now, number 2, screen time rules. Rules about screen time. Authoritarian parents, strict ban, no discussion. Strict ban, no distraction. Nobody should use screen in this house. Whether you like it or not, I have said it. Let it be like that. That is authoritarian parents. Now, should it always be so? Should everything always be like that? That doesn't make sense. Now, what about a permissive parents, unlimited access? Watch when you want, feel free, do things the way you want to do it. Have your time. You see? Have it anytime you want it. This is permissive parenting. Now, what about authoritative? Authoritative parents, clear limits plus listening. Clear limits. In authoritative parents, there is clear limits. You can play for 1 hour after homework. Too much screen time affects sleep. This is authoritative parents. There is a limit. 1 hour after homework, no more. You can now go to sleep. That is a more better style. That's a more better approach. That's a more better consequence. That we have, at least there's a better, the natural consequences is there, because too much too much screen time affects sleep. You see? So that is that. More clear. Now, when teen teen rebellion, what will the authoritarian parents do? Punish and shame. Punish and shame. The authoritarian parent will just punish and shame the child. Now, what about permissive parents? Permissive parents will ignore the behavior. It will just overlook the behavior. It's not so important. At least, let not hurt the child's feeling. That is the normal way. Permissive parenting. But authoritative, stay calm, discuss his choices, set boundaries respectfully. Authoritative parents in teen rebellion, stay calm, discuss his choices, and set boundaries respectively. So that is that. Now, when love meets structure, respect grow. When love meets structure, you love, and with your love there is structure. Why will the structure not be respected? But when respect grows, children thrives. When respect grows, children thrives. So that is that. Now, let us look more and about the recap of all these things we have been saying here. In authoritarian parenting, there is control without love. He controls and he doesn't love. He doesn't have any warmth. But in the permissive parenting, there is love and there is no control. The child is always free to do what he wants. But in the authoritarian parenting, love and control are in harmony with each other. He loves, he controls, and everything is in harmony. So that is that. Parenting, we know, it's about being present in the life of your child. Make sure, because this is in the final message that we are giving out, make sure that you are always involved in the life of your child. It is okay to make mistakes, but what matters is your willingness to learn, listen, and grow with your child. Be involved. Always be involved. It's very, very important. It's very, very important. Be involved in the life of your child and always be there to teach, and then love and teach and help your child grow. Help your child grow maturely. Now, I will now ask a question: which parenting styles among all these do we identify with? Which parenting styles do you think you fit into? And moreover, there is another type of parenting style which we didn't mention here. This one is uninvolved. This particular one is completely free of the child. You see? But that is not what we are going to talk about here. We are going to look at ourselves and see the parenting styles. The parenting style we think we exhibit. And then it will also be very, very important that we share the experiences that we have. Because in our parenting journey, we might have experienced or seen different types. Or we might, if not in your own life, it is in your neighbor, it's your friend, it's your brother or sister, and the lifestyle that they live. You see? Now, share your experiences because we need to hear. We are all here to learn, and we are all here to grow as parents. We are all here to grow. And moreover, we are sharing this very particular live stream is just for encouragement. This page is all about encouraging ourselves in our parenting journey and making our journey a success, making our journey a success and raising our children the very, very possibly way that we can, especially among our African parents and our African mommies and daddies with peculiar lifestyle, always shouting on their children and always, scolding their children loudly. Which parenting style do we fit in? Let us look at ourselves here and share the experiences. Now, I know that this very particular parenting styles, if you understand, I would like you to, a thumb up, share with other parents, and please try to subscribe so that we can be able, so that we will be able to present this parenting wisdom now and then, So that is that. Now, discipline without love leads to rebellion. This is my closing quote. Discipline without love leads to rebellion. Love without discipline leads to chaos. But love with discipline builds character. You see, um, I thank you so much for having spent time with me this afternoon. Uh, I don't know where you are watching from or when you come across this video, but wherever you are coming across this video from, I thank you for your time. And please, just like I said, share this for us because we need to raise our children responsibly. We need to use the correct and the right parenting lifestyle to raise our children. We need to raise our children as responsible parents that we are. We need to raise our children. We need to raise our children with love. We need to raise our children with care. We need to raise our children with boundaries and controls that they need. Not too much affection and not too much control, but a mixture of both for the success of our children so that we will have emotionally matured children. Thank you for spending this time with us. And thank you for making our time to be a part of this live stream. And thank you. Thank you. Mm.